Episode 2, continuing on. So, I want to start by saying that something must have corrupted in the original world from episode 1. And when I loaded in, I had just been reset at the spawn. I had lost all my progress, so we'll just start anew. And I think that's kind of silly that something like that would happen, because that's a lot of what I've been trying to deal with, is just learning how to start anew. And so I think it's just a little funny that it just so happened to happen that way, but that's how things are sometimes, and so we'll take what we have and we'll just go with it. So hopefully the same thing doesn't happen here, and continuing on, it'll just be this world. Anyways, again, if any of you are back from episode 1 or you're just now coming in, I am Ryan. I'm 20 years old. I'm just a young guy, and I am using this as a way to just talk and get things out. And if anybody relates or they enjoy, then I hope they stick around, and I hope that you guys join me on this journey that I honestly don't know where it's going to go. So, in the episode yesterday, I kind of was all over the place. I just took it as, just being myself, and the only way I know how to be me is to just not hold back. And so I talked about whatever came to my mind, and I'm hoping that moving on, I can hopefully become more natural with the talking aspect, and I don't always lose my train of thought or jump from one thing to another. However, in the description, if any of you have read it, I stated I will never write anything down or, go into these videos with key points or specific thoughts, because that just doesn't feel like my goal and what I'm going for here. This is just supposed to be about vulnerability and being real, and just letting the things on my mind come off. So, it is currently Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. I was at work today. I work through the week, and I just work at a factory, just a plain old factory. I make the boss man millions, and I take home my pennies compared to his dollars, and we just take it how it is. And that's just how things are for probably 90% of us, and a lot of you guys watching. Even if you're not exactly over age yet, you just I know when I was 14, I had gotten my first job, and you just kind of start working one day, and then you never really can stop. But I work about 8.5 to 10 hours a day, and I wouldn't say that I mind it. It's not a horrible job. It's laboring, and sometimes you get real hot or real cold, and you kind of wish that why do I have to do this? But I think that's everybody. I mean, nobody truly wants to go to work unless you have a job that you do truly enjoy, and if that's the case, then I envy that. But I do alright for myself. I have my own place, and I'm able to take care of the things that I need to take care of from day to day and week to week. So, you take it all for what it is. But going into this episode, I think I just want to, dive more into life and, things that we probably all deal with, and what can we try to do to help ourselves get out of the places that we feel like we're stuck in. And so, I guess with that being said, we should think more about ourselves than we do others, because I know me, I have a horrible habit of worrying about others before I worry about me. And I would assume a lot of people that relate to me in my first video and things that I've been saying so far in this one would feel that same way. And that's never a bad thing. It's never horrible to be a people person, to be a lover, to be a helper, a giver. But you also have to remember to help and give to yourself, because when you allow yourself to become this person that focuses solely on what can I do for them, you forget to worry about what should I do for me. And I think that comes in a lot of ways. I mean, it can be something as simple as, you always being the person that messages first to initiate plans, or you always helping out a friend or family member with money, or, there's so many possibilities of what that can mean for you, and it can mean different things for everybody. And so I think we just have to learn to remember that our number one supporter always will be ourself, and it's never good to allow ourselves to go unkept and uncared for, because if there's nobody to care for you, there's always you to care for you. And I know that can sound a bit corny, and I acknowledge that it is a little bit, but it's serious, and there's a lot of people that need to hear it, including myself. And something that does sit on my mind a lot, and I know other people experience it as well, is you worry about, I have this opportunity in front of me, but I'm not sure if it's the opportunity I want to take. However, I'm worried if I don't take it, no other opportunities as such will ever come my way. And you feel almost as if you're being tested. Um, like, if he or she takes this opportunity, then they'll be good. And if they don't, then they'll suffer that consequence. But I think it's silly to think that, on the floating rock that we're on, you would be tested in such a slight way that one single consequence would be the end of it all. And so that's something I've been trying to kind of teach myself and come more to understand, that, one no and one yeah never really determines a lifetime worth of anything at all. So for anybody out there that feels that way, that's kind of struggling with that, lift that burden off of yourself and remember that God, if that's what you believe in, or the universe, or just simply fate, would never test you in such a way to where you have one chance and one chance only. Yesterday I talked a little bit about a girl that I was with for a while, and the breakup that I experienced there is a big reason of why I started this channel, because it goes for a lot of guys where that, one major breakup, one major life change like that can alter the path that you're on or the way that you see things, what you experience. And I want to preference everything that I talk about to do with her first and foremost by saying I have no ill will. I have no grudge. I hold nothing against her because at the end of the day, we were kids and we were young, and people make mistakes and people do things, and you make stupid decisions sometimes, and that's just kind of life. And it's something that you have to accept and be okay with, and knowing that you were able to learn from it rather than holding it inside all that time and being upset that it happened. And so I think that we all have probably experienced heartbreak in some form. Whether that be, whether that be a relationship that didn't work out quite the way you wanted it, or a crush that didn't go the way you had planned, or anything along them sort of lines, because grief and heartbreak and anger can come in so many different forms that it's okay to say that you feel the same, you feel similar. When I say that, oh, I spent 5, 6, 7 years with her, and it tore me up. It's okay for you to say, well, I feel similar, but I only spent 2 years in love with a girl that never loved me back. And that's okay, because we're never all going to truly have the same experience. Whether it's very similar, there's always still going to be little quirks and details that only you got to experience, that only you understand. And so I think when we as a whole can begin to kind of lean into that and not knock people for trying to relate in their own way, we would all be able to understand, and I feel be more open completely in allowing people to be vulnerable like I am now, especially men, because it's not common. And part of the reason that I'm doing this the way that I am is because there's not truly anybody that I can talk about all these things with and still feel comfortable and still feel like the relationship isn't going to change. And I think that's something that dates back years and years and years. And it's something that I don't understand why it would be that way, but it just is. And it's something that I envy with women's relationships, because they can cry together, they can laugh together, they can, experience things together every day on an everyday basis. Whereas to men tend to feel the same way and understand each other in that way, but on a very much more rare occasion. So, as for an example, two girls could have a sleepover and they could laugh and cry and just enjoy each other and vent and talk all night long, and that'd be their normal Saturday night. But with men, it seems as if it would take, you know, 20 times hanging out and getting, you know, to the point where you're almost blackout drunk for you and your buddy to fully, you know, open up and share everything that you deal with. And in that way, I just don't understand why we as a whole have kept it that way and allowed it that way. But it's something that we have, and so it's something that we just all kind of deal with. So, going back into more of what I was saying about the girl that I had spent a long time with, as I had said, that's somewhere that I spent a lot of time in my life, and it's something that's not easy to just forget. And so you find yourself often remembering things or seeing things or doing things, and your thought is always, you know, what would she think? Um, how would she feel? Or like if she saw this, she would crack up. Or oh, I'm glad I'm not with her because if she knew I did that, it would make her upset. Things like that. And I think it's normal after you spend a long time with somebody to recognize that in things that you see, because you know you built a life with them in a way. And you know, something that just hit my mind is a message that I have in my notes app. It's just sitting in my notes app. It's something I wrote up a while back that I never had the courage to send because, as I said in my video yesterday, it's just a part of me knowing that I'm I'm selfish about the situation sometimes. And so I think a good thing to do for me to get this out would be to read this message that I have, that I plan to send to her, and it's sitting in my notes app. So I'll go ahead and read that message. The message reads as such. Okay, so I want to say before anything else that if you don't feel the need to respond, that's okay. And this isn't anything bad. Let me box myself in. Sorry, guys. I've just been thinking a lot lately, and I want to get everything off my chest. You don't owe me anything. You don't even have to read this. And remembering that sometimes hurts. Since we broke up, I've spent so much time trying to go back and pinpoint exactly where it was I went wrong, where and how it was that I drove you away. But it wasn't one instance, it wasn't a single moment or issue. It was so many things that added up, but the biggest one that I couldn't face was that simply sometimes people just fall out of love. But in ways you don't even know, you've motivated me, even still to this day. Getting my job, saving up money, getting my own place. It was all motivated by you and the thought that maybe I could have a chance with you again. That just maybe you'd think, oh, he's not that stupid, irresponsible, and lazy boy anymore. I crave what we had, and there's a lot of times I have to stop and take things in, especially being on my own now, because sometimes it gets lonely and you begin to imagine what could be or what could have been. For a while now, I begin to wonder if the love and attraction I still felt was simply towards you or towards the idea of you, and that's something I've had to battle with a lot lately. But I know now it was never of the idea, it was always of the strong, secure, and confident woman you are and were when we were together. I realized recently that trying to suppress the memories we made was wrong. It's corny to say, but I shouldn't be sad it's over. I should be happy it happened. And through all the love, hurt, happy, and sad, I would always choose to redo it all over again in every lifetime. I found out that I had a problem with thinking because I wanted something that if I kept going at it, no matter how long or how much, I'd get it eventually. But realizing now that's wrong. And while that can be the case in some scenarios, love just can't work that way. I think something I've had to accept recently is that it's okay to yearn for something that can't be, to love someone who may not love back. It's not a bad thing, it's human. And being able to experience what I did with you was special, and it's something I'll never forget. Through good and the bad, being able to understand what's right and wrong in a relationship, I learned that from my time spent with you. I couldn't and wouldn't ever feel like I wasted a second of my life when I was with you. The image of love in my head has always been you. There was never a scenario where love could equal anything or anyone else. I think me allowing that to be my mindset kept me around. I do want to say that knowing I got to be someone you loved at some point is something that I'm grateful for, and that I'll never have any anger or resentment towards you for anything that's happened in the tangled mess that we call our relationship, because it's ours. It's unique, and only we can say that we lived it. If you haven't been able to tell by now, this is me saying goodbye and letting you go like I should have did all that time ago. See, I think things happen for a reason, and what's meant to be will be, and allowing that to be my mindset now makes it easier to let go. Because to say, may we meet again, doesn't have to mean goodbye forever. It doesn't have to mean the story's over. And maybe your words end up written in someone else's book, but if that story is what brings you happiness and makes your life fulfilled, then I'd encourage you to chase it. I would encourage you to not make the same mistakes we did when we were together. Because if there's anyone that deserves a long-lasting, fulfilling, meaningful relationship, it's you. I understand now that to love doesn't mean to be angry when it's gone, to get selfish or jealous that it's not mine anymore. It means to be happy for you, to be encouraging and caring regardless of the situation. Love just can't be something you give when things are good, when things are how you want them to be. Real love shows when things are the complete opposite. And I learned that my love for you runs beyond a relationship, beyond touch, beyond smell. You, simply put, were my best friend for a long time, and you were always someone who I could count on, to pick up my slack, to give advice, to call out things I'd refuse to see. So whether it's in an affectionate way or a platonic way, my love for you will always remain the same. So out of the love I have for you, I've realized a mature and genuine thing to do is to take a step back and allow you to enjoy your life the way you want, without a constant memory of your past. But remember, if things get crazy and you need someone to listen, I'm always just a call away. Hopefully this isn't goodbye forever. Hopefully we meet again somewhere, someday. But irregardless of the outcome, my love for you will last forever and always. Love, Ryan. So, as you guys can kind of get from that, I really do feel a lot there. And it's hard to just wake up the next day and be okay that something that strong, that you feel that strongly about, is gone. However, sometimes that's just something that you have to allow and deal with. And if there's one thing that I would want you guys to take away from that message, it's that if you're in that predicament, I recommend that you send that message. And I recommend that you tell the girl how you feel. I recommend you don't waste your time chasing and yearning and waiting around for something that you're not sure will ever come, because you deserve better and you deserve more. And that's especially for any of you out there that have been hurt and think, well, maybe this time they'll change. Maybe this time they can be different. And I absolutely understand that, because that whole time I spent with her, that was all I kept telling myself and my friends and my family, that that I just know that this time it'll be different. I know that she'll change. I know this time it won't be the same. And it never did, because people are going to be who they want to be until they want to change. And that's something that she taught me. People will not change for you. They'll change when they're ready to change for themselves. And she taught me that by leaving me. Because when she left, it took some time for me to realize that the person I wasn't the person that I wanted to be. And then I was able to recall all the times that she'd asked me to change, to be different, to be better. And I refused, because at that time, I just wasn't ready for that change. And I wasn't willing to change for her. And that was part of my mistakes and part of my wrongdoings. However, none of us will be perfect ever. And all we can ask for in somebody is honesty and loyalty and trust that through thick and thin and through right and wrong, that we'll do our best to be there and understand one another. So, my last video, I think it got somewhere around 30 or so views, and I got, I think, 2 or 3 comments from different people. Something I want to try. I'm not sure how this will go. It depends on if this video gets a few views or not, but if any of you have watched this video and you've made it to this point, I would like you to comment down something that you've been dealing with, something that's been bothering you. And if it's something that you do anonymously, if you want to switch accounts to an account that's not recognized under you, but if you want to comment below this video and just talk a little about what you've experienced and what you've been dealing with and what you're trying to create a new beginning from and continue on from, then I would absolutely love that, and I would love to talk about that with you in the next episode. Now, a little sidebar I want to go into. I want to say that I'm not 100% on any sort of upload schedule for anybody that is following along. I'm shooting to do a video every night. I do nothing other than work and play the game pretty much, so I think I want to shoot for a video every night. However, here and there, I could already say I probably missed that mark a couple times, but I'll do my best to always try to be there. And so I think taking everything from yesterday's video and today's video, I think that the key point that we all want to take is that as long as we're trying, as long as we're aiming for progress, that's what matters the most. it doesn't have to mean that you've taken 5 steps forward. It doesn't have to mean that you've even taken one. Because as long as you've set a goal in mind and you're trying, that's what means the most. And so we can say that if you have a plan, if you have a goal, and you're trying to dig yourself out of a funk that you're in, or make things better in general, it's okay to say, I know I need to do this and I'm going to try. I just don't know how. Because that's always going to be step one. And that makes you halfway farther than a lot of other people. And so I think we just got to remember that it's okay to feel alone, and it's okay to be sad and be scared and worry about what comes next, but the only thing that you can do from there is focus on what you can do to help it. So again, I want to actually pull up my YouTube very quick, and I just want to say thank you to 2 separate people. I got a comment left by a user under the name of, hopefully I say this correctly, Indepto. They said, if this isn't an ARG, I'm gonna die. And I didn't know what that meant, so I had to ask. And then I got comments back from another user named Raxacalol. I hope I said that right as well. But they just explained to me what an ARG was, and I want to say now that that's not what this is. And I do apologize if anything that I had did in episode 1 had made it seem that way. This truly is just me filming me playing Minecraft and talking. No really special meaning behind anything. So I just wanted to shout them guys out for leaving comments down below. As being someone on here, it just helps, even if their comments weren't exactly regarding to anything I talked about, it still is nice to know that somebody clicked and somebody watched and listened, even if it was just for a second. And so with all of this, I think the note that I want to leave it on today is that opening up can be freeing, and me reading that message to you guys was a big move for me today. And so I hope that if any of you guys heard that and you listened to that, I hope that you felt it. And I know there's somebody out there that it'll mean something to. And so, as we see the sunrise here, I think it'll be a great place now to go ahead and call it a day. And I will see you guys over in the next one.